Euphemia steps forward, and her calm demeanor barely conceals her annoyance. She acknowledges the oversight in not including herself in the lie detection process, admitting that such an omission naturally casts suspicion on her. With a deliberate motion, she raises her staff high, and a radiant golden light bursts into existence above her head. The glow is so intense it floods the room, forcing everyone to shield their eyes as if a miniature sun had just appeared indoors. The crowd collectively recoils, squinting and covering their eyes, some bumping into each other like disoriented moths drawn to a too bright flame. It's clear that this wasn't the gentle glow they were expecting. Apologies ripple through the room, with many silently pleading for the celestial light show to end. Euphemia stands firm, glowing like a divine being who's also done with everyone's nonsense. Augustin steps in, his usual air of diplomacy firmly in place. He tries to calm the room, though his expression shows he's more than a little annoyed at the situation. He emphasizes that Euphemia, with all her strength and status, would never bother with something as petty as stealing an artifact. He shifts the focus to the bigger problem. If the lie detection spell is flawless and no one here is lying, and the real question becomes far more troubling. Whoever killed the King of Original Sin had to be ridiculously powerful and stealthy, like some legendary assassin who can ghost past everyone without breaking a sweat. The thought leaves the room heavy with silence. The weight of the mystery presses down on them. Carolina points out that not everyone who should be here is actually present. Several demigod-level fighters didn't bother showing up, probably too busy doing whatever overpowered warriors do when they're not saving the world. Tang Zhan, always ready to throw more fuel on the fire, agrees with her but grumbles about the lack of evidence. He gestures dramatically, as if willing some proof to fall out of the sky. Euphemia explains that her spell isn't just a lie detection tool. It's designed to expose not only those who commit acts but also anyone complicit, even indirectly, such as informing the killer. Yet, the results remain the same. No one in the room has betrayed their cause. Augustin, Carolina, and Tang Zhan exchange uneasy glances, each trying to piece together the mystery in their own way. The thought crosses all their minds at once: if even Euphemia, with all her power and divine insight, is stumped, then who in the world could be behind this? It's the kind of situation that makes even the most confident leaders question whether they've been playing checkers while the culprit plays chess on a whole other board. Euphemia, undeterred by the lack of answers, shifts the tone of the conversation. She acknowledges the strangeness of the situation, conceding that they're facing something unprecedented. But with the matter already a reality, the only choice is to move forward and see what unfolds next. She turns the discussion to the task at hand. Originally, Sakura Country was set to launch the first attack, but with the King of Gluttony already defeated, the focus now shifts. The next King of Original Sin lies deep within the 200th layer of the Demon Abyss. Euphemia then turns to Lord Takugawa and asks him whether Sakura Country is prepared to continue with the challenge. Takugawa, his expression as rigid as someone who just realized they forgot their wallet at home, admits that Sakura Country wants to continue but simply lacks the strength to do so. Anything beyond the 100th layer of the Demon Abyss, he explains, is out of their league. His tone is steady, but there's a hint of resignation, like a student trying to explain why they couldn't finish the assignment. The room seems to collectively nod in quiet agreement. Facing the 200th layer does sound like the setup for a very bad day. Euphemia, unfazed and ever pragmatic, steps in with a solution. She announces that, as per the order of the draw, the Eagle Union will now take over Sakura Country's task of exploring the abyss. To soften the blow, she assures Sakura Country that as victims of this incident, the temple will provide some compensation. It's a fair trade, though it does feel a bit like handing someone a participation trophy after their team gets eliminated. Augustin signals his agreement almost immediately, stepping forward with the kind of confidence that suggests he's ready for the challenge, or at least ready to look like he is. The declaration earns a few glances, but his confidence is hard to argue with. Takugawa calmly accepts the arrangement on behalf of Sakura Country. Euphemia then makes it clear that further measures are being implemented to avoid similar chaos in the future. She announces that, effective immediately, entrances to the Demon Abyss will be guarded by troops from the Holy City. This move is intended to ensure controlled access and prevent any unauthorized actions. Her tone suggests she's done playing referee and ready to enforce a zero-tolerance policy. With no further comments or protests, she brings the meeting to an official close, leaving behind a room full of leaders nodding in resigned agreement, or at least pretending to. Meanwhile, Su Yang, back in his own body, adjusts his jacket with a casual air of someone who just aced a test he didn't study for. He can't help but reflect on the success of his recent adventure. With the weapon of original sin in hand and his experience points maxed out, he feels like a gamer who's just hit the jackpot in a grind-heavy quest. A small grin tugs at his lips as he mentally tallies his achievements. The trip might have been risky, but it's paid off in spades. He's already thinking about his next move, changing his class to something stronger, flashier, and probably capable of breaking a few more rules. But just then, he receives a notification about the world announcement stating that the first original Sin series weapon has been obtained, and one out of the 7 world-class bosses has been defeated. Soo-yang looks at the notification startled. He rubs the back of his head, reflecting the fanfare surrounding the artifact feels excessive, almost like the world is throwing a parade for whoever got their hands on it. He can't help but feel relieved that his name isn't mentioned. His relief, however, quickly gives way to the realization of what this announcement means. High-level figures from every corner of the world will now be on high alert, their interest in the artifact and its wielder reaching dangerous levels. The thought sobers him instantly. If he wants to avoid painting a massive target on his back, he'll need to tread carefully from here on out. He resolves that no one, under any circumstances, can know he possesses the original Sin weapon. Even in life-threatening situations, he vows to use it sparingly, if at all. The risk of exposure outweighs the benefits, and the potential consequences send a chill down his spine. He recalls the old saying about how simply possessing a treasure is enough to invite disaster. Soo-yang knows better than to underestimate the truth in that. Soo-yang's mind drifts into a vivid scenario, imagining the look of surprise on Priestess Bailing's face if he shows up at the temple again, ready for yet another class change. He can almost hear her internal monologue, how his leveling speed is suspiciously fast, the kind of pace that makes people whisper about hacks or cheats. He envisions other adventurers nudging each other, eyebrows raised, murmuring that there's no way this guy is playing by the rules. Something's definitely up with him, they'd speculate, probably while concocting wild theories about secret items or forbidden skills. Thinking it through, Soo-yang realizes pushing forward so quickly might not be the smartest move. It's only been a day since he completed the 4th transition task, and running straight into the 5th would set off every red flag imaginable. Even the temple's neutral priesthood might start raising eyebrows, and that's not the kind of attention he wants. On top of that, his recent high-profile stunt capturing the giant dragon has already drawn more eyes than he's comfortable with. If someone connects the dots between that and the boss defeat, it wouldn't just be bad, it could blow his cover completely. Despite this, the thought of waiting around makes his skin crawl. Sitting idle feels like the opposite of progress, and Soo-yang isn't one to waste time twiddling his thumbs. His mind races for a solution, something that allows him to keep moving forward without painting a bigger target on his back. The dilemma nags at him, the itch he can't quite scratch. Slowing down isn't his style, but charging ahead without caution is a recipe for disaster. He weighs his options, torn between the urge to stay under the radar and his natural drive to push boundaries. One thing is clear, he needs a plan, one that balances subtlety with progress. Soo-yang strolls through his estate when he spots one of his maids bent over a basin, diligently washing clothes by hand. She looks up and greets him with a cheerful smile, and he approaches, casually asking if she's laundering. He thanks her for her hard work, his tone light but sincere. She chuckles, brushing off the praise with a smile that suggests she's used to doing her tasks without much fuss. Suddenly, Soo-yang grabs her hand, his expression shifting to one of genuine concern. He asks why she's still hand-washing clothes when they have a perfectly good washing machine at home. He points out how much effort it must take and how it could hurt her hands. His words catch her off guard, and her cheeks flush as she realizes how close her master is standing. Her thoughts spiral into chaos, her emotions bubbling over like an overfilled kettle. Unable to handle the moment, she abruptly turns and hurries off, practically fleeing the scene. Just as she scurries away, she mutters something about how, despite the convenience of the washing machine, she prefers hand washing. She finds it satisfying to carefully clean stubborn stains, and the joy of seeing everyone in neat and spotless clothes gives her a deep sense of fulfillment. Her words trail off as she disappears, leaving Soo-yang standing there, both puzzled and mildly amused. He tilts his head, processing her explanation, and then a spark of inspiration lights up his face. Cleaning dirt away bit by bit, that idea suddenly connects to his recent dilemma. It reminds him of scenes in movies where gangsters launder money, and he wonders if experience points could be treated the same way. Maybe black experience could be washed into white experience. The concept strikes him as both ridiculous and strangely plausible. All he would need is a spot that's perfect for grinding out points while avoiding suspicion. He claps his hands, feeling a surge of excitement. The mundane act of laundry has somehow sparked a solution to his dilemma. Now he just needs to find the perfect laundromat for his experience points, and hopefully one without too many stains to scrub out. Soo-yang carefully evaluates his options, his mind already strategizing like a seasoned tactician. 2 places immediately come to mind: the Dragon Spirit Secret Realm and the Demon Abyss. Each has its own appeal, but also its complications. The Dragon Spirit Secret Realm, still undeveloped and shrouded in mystery, requires possessing a giant dragon to enter. The lack of information about what lies inside actually works to his advantage if he claims to have gained a lot of experience there. Who could argue? After all, only 2 people are currently eligible to enter, himself and that prodigy beastmaster from the Eagle Union. It's the kind of exclusivity that practically screams believable excuse. The Demon Abyss, on the other hand, feels like a crowded marketplace by comparison. Open for ages, it's crawling with adventurers, including Tang Zhan and his plans to bring a bunch of young talents there for training. The more people around, the more unpredictable things get, and unpredictability isn't exactly Su Yang's style. He quickly dismisses it in favor of the dragon spirit's secret realm. Fewer people means fewer complications and fewer chances of being caught doing anything unconventional. Su Yang's mind races further. If he can somehow reduce the number of people who qualify to enter the dragon spirit's secret realm before it opens, his odds of keeping everything under wraps improve dramatically. His mental checklist starts populating with names of those who might capture a giant dragon before the realm becomes accessible. Lu Ling, other beastmaster geniuses from various countries. The list is intimidating, but Su Yang's confidence doesn't waver. Then an idea strikes him. It's bold, a little absurd, but undeniably effective. Why not transform himself into a self-proclaimed giant dragon hunter and eliminate all the existing giant dragons in advance? It's efficient, decisive, and most importantly, guarantees no unexpected competition. A grin spreads across his face as he pictures himself systematically hunting down the creatures, not just leveling up but securing his dominance over the secret realm. The plan feels so outrageous that it might just work. Su Yang chuckles to himself, already visualizing the chaos it will cause in the beast-taming world. With a flick of determination, he decides if the dragons have to go, then so be it. Su Yang returns to his lounge, settling into a comfortable chair as he opens his system interface. With a few quick taps, he initiates a video call to Bai Ling. Her calm and efficient demeanor greets him as he requests information on the current giant dragon's secret realms in Longxia. Bai Ling promptly responds, her fingers moving swiftly across her own interface, asking him to wait a moment. Moments later, Bai Ling delivers the information with her usual precision. She reports 2 active secret realms, the Silver Dragon's secret realm in Ju City, located in the southwest, and the Red Dragon's secret realm in Anling City in the northern region. Both are categorized as Starry Radiance tier. Su Yang nods, focusing on the details, and instructs Bai Ling to make a reservation for the Silver Dragon's secret realm. However, Bai Ling hesitates for a brief moment before pointing out something unusual. She mentions that the top 50 reservations for the Silver Dragon's secret realm all come from the Tianji Pavilion. Her tone carries just enough curiosity to suggest she finds it strange, but she doesn't press further. Su Yang leans back in his chair, reflecting with a knowing smirk. This pattern aligns perfectly with his expectations. Knowing Lu Ling's determined personality, it makes complete sense that, after failing to capture the Black Dragon, she'd aim for another giant dragon. Reserving slots exclusively through the Tianji Pavilion feels like her way of stacking the odds in her favor. Yet to Su Yang, it's nothing more than an elaborate setup that places her directly in his line of fire again. He chuckles quietly to himself, shaking his head at the situation. While he admires her tenacity, he can't help but feel a pang of amusement at how often their paths seem to cross and not to her advantage. With a hint of mock sympathy, he spares a moment to silently mourn for the young lady before moving on. In the end, this is just another step in his grand plan, and Lu Ling is, unfortunately for her, simply an obstacle in his way. Su Yang tilts his head slightly, asking Bai Ling if the temple VIP status grants absolute priority for secret realms. Bai Ling nods, confirming that as long as he makes a reservation, no one, unless they're a higher-tier 5-star class changer, can take precedence over him. However, she hesitates and gently raises the question of whether this could affect relations with the Tianji Pavilion. Unfazed, Su Yang waves off the concern, instructing her to proceed with the reservation. He leans back, reflecting with a quiet smirk. The Tianji Pavilion is hardly a concern. His temple VIP status alone was enough to ensure that Jie Yu treated him with the utmost respect in the past. Now, with even more accolades under his belt, Tamer of the Black Dragon, honorary member of the Global Beastmaster Association, and a slew of other titles, he doubts they would dare cross him. Even if they had 100-fold more courage, the Tianji Pavilion isn't in a position to act recklessly. He lets out a low chuckle, his thoughts shifting to his trump cards. Samo's flesh and shattered heart, spoils from defeating one of the kings of 7 sins, sit in his inventory like ticking bombs of overwhelming power. The absurd stats they grant, over 10 million HP and nearly 30,000 strength, make him nearly untouchable. Unless the pavilion sends the 7-star class changer, which is highly unlikely, they're in no position to threaten him. His confidence swells as he visualizes the possibilities. If anyone from the Tianji Pavilion dares to interfere, he wouldn't mind teaching them a lesson while slaying a few dragons on the side. The thought of taking down both obstacles and beasts in one fell swoop feels more like an opportunity than a problem. His grin widens as he sets his plans in motion, the thrill of what's to come fueling his determination. I hope that you liked today's video, and if you did, hit that like button as today's goal is 1,500 likes. Comment next part down below to see what happens next. Also, consider subscribing with the notification bell on to get notified as soon as a new video drops onto the channel. You can also join the channel to support me financially and watch videos before public release. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching.